coming to direct labor variance. Okay, so here in direct labor variance also, just like what we did for the material variance, we had to see what is the quantity variance and what is the price variance, right? So here, when it comes in labor also, we have rate variance and efficiency variance. So when we are using a material, we are supposed to use standard material 10 quantity. If we are using 11 quantity, 11 materials we are using, that means there is a zero there, like
Yes.
yes, okay, fine. So what we were talking was direct labor and its variances. So just like in material variance, what happened if we are supposed to use 10 materials, in that place we used 11 materials. That means the material which we are using is faulty material or the machine is having some fault. So that's why there is no efficiency. Same way, labor also. Yes. Okay, so in direct labor also we have rate variance. If, for example, the standard rate was, for example, $10 or $50, but we could hire only people with $60, so it will bring us a rate variance. Next, coming to the direct labor efficiency variance, it's calculated on the number of hours employees have worked. We were expecting employees will complete a particular work in 10 hours, but they took 15 hours or 12 hours. So there is an efficiency variance. Okay, so direct labor variance is similar to the direct material variance. The total direct labor flexible budget variance consists of rate variance and the efficiency variance. So we'll see what is direct labor variance. So when we calculate the direct labor flexible budget variance, the amount what we are getting is a sum total of the rate variance and the efficiency variance. For example, we might have saved something in rate. For example, $50, we could negotiate for the labor rate and we got it for $40 per hour. But what happens? These were unskilled labors, so they might take more time. So at that point in efficiency, we are lacking. We are having a unfavorable situation, and in rate, we will be having a favorable situation. So when we combine this, we will get whether it is a total favorable or unfavorable for the direct labor. Clear? So direct labor rate variance. This variance equals the actual quantity of the total input times the difference between the actual price and the standard price. So here, actual units produced multiplied by actual labor hours per unit into actual price minus standard price. So here, what happens here? Actual units produced into actual labor hours. For example, we are producing 10 units. Each unit takes 5 hours of labor, actually. So 5 into 10, 50 units is there. Okay. So now 50 units, we are going to check what is the rate variance, actual price. Do anyone need an Excel sheet to understand all these things? What we are discussing? Better. Yeah. Okay. Just a second. I also prefer Excel sheet so that it is easy for me. Sometimes it's boring.
No, the practical is not boring. When only looking at this
theory letters, it's boring. Someone left the class. Is that Lawrence? Yusuf? Dhawal. Okay. Okay. Just a second. Guys, please wait a second. Sorry, guys. So what we were talking was so in direct labor variance, what happens? For example, actual quantity produced. We are producing 10 quantities, okay, and hours per quantity. Okay, to manufacture one item, we have to spend 50 hours, 5 hours. So how much labor hours we are having? This will be 10
50.
50, right? So this will be our direct labor hour. That is what we are calculating here. This is an actual labor hours, clear? Then now we are going to compare, for example, the rate which we agreed, actually we are paying is, rate is, for example, $15, okay, per hour. And then standard price, which we were expecting as only 14. But what happened? We were forced to pay 15 because there is some, for example, labor shortage. So what will be our rate? Excuse me, please mute your mics. Okay, so what will be our direct labor variance, rate variance? So what is the variance in rate? Actually, 15 minus 14, right? Okay, so 1 into how many labor hours we had? That's $50 will be the variance. Clear? Okay, done. Okay, then
Yes.
once the variance have been calculated, the next step is to analyze the reason for the variance. In general, a favorable variance is desirable and an unfavorable variance is undesirable, but that is not always true. And like, for example, when we are receiving a favorable variance, okay, what does it mean? That means rate is very good. But there is one more thing, like if always it's not true. If we get a rate variance favorable, for example, normal market rate, the standard rate is $150 per hour. We got someone for $100. He might be unskilled. That's why we got it in a lesser price. Clear. So what happens if we are hiring unskilled labor? He will make more time. He will take more time. He will take more. His efficiency will be less. Second thing, he might use more materials to manufacture things. So these kind of expense will come. So an unfavorable labor variance is usually caused by assigning skilled workers to a production process when the standard price calculation assume that unskilled workers would complete the work. However, the greater efficiency of skilled workers might result in a favorable labor efficiency variance to offset the unfavorable rate variance. Clear? That's why we say if you want to have a horse, you should pay for the rate of horse. If you pay for the rate for donkeys, you will get only donkeys. The same way, if you want more efficiency, you have to hire skilled laborers. Then another explanation for an unfavorable labor rate variance is that a new union contract resulted in a higher wage to workers, in which case the standard price should be updated. So here in UAE, we don't have this union stuff and issues, but in US and other countries, we have labor unions, which is having a very dominant role in manufacturing. So they will fix the rates, they will talk to the employees, laborers and all. So what happened here? The organization have set a standard price. After setting the standard price, the labor unions interfered and they wanted the rate to be changed. Clear? So what we have to do also, we have to update our standard rate. Then only we will know the exact figure what is happening there. Then, if we are having a favorable labor rate variance, is usually caused by assigning workers with less skill to a job. This may be desirable when they are qualified for the job. However, the favorable rate variance may be offset by an unfavorable efficiency variance or lower quality products. Clear? It's coming to direct labor efficiency variance. Okay, so this variance equals the standard price times the difference between the actual quantity of total input and the standard quantity of total input. So here we are talking about the input, not the output. For example, we will go to the Excel sheet again. Okay. See, for example, here we have a standard price. Okay, we will lock it. We will keep it as it. Then actual units produced, for example, it is 10. Okay. Actual labor hours, we said 5. Okay. Then what happens? Standard labor hours was, okay, standard hours per quantity was, for example, 4. Clear?
Instead of 5, what?
Yeah, standard was 4. But what happened in actual? What happened? We produced 10 units. Okay, we'll say this actual, and here also actual. Okay. So what will be the actual quantity which we are producing? Actual units produced into actual labor hours, right? Okay, this is 50. So what we were supposed to take actual units into standard hours. Clear? So we were supposed to take only 40 hours as per standard. If you are producing even 10 quantities, according to standard, we were supposed to take only 40 hours. But what happened? We took 50 hours. Okay. Now we will have a difference how much? 50 minus 40. Yeah, come on. Lawrence.
10.
Yeah, 10. Okay, so 10 is the variance. So this variance is favorable or unfavorable?
Unfavorable.
Unfavorable, right? So standard price, what happened? Standard price is what? 14. So you will get a labor variance of 14 into 10, 140. Clear? Okay. So this 140 is actually what? Unfavorable, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is unfavorable. Then what about the direct labor price variance? We were supposed to, here 50 also is a unfavorable variance, right?
Unfavorable.
Total your direct labor variance will be 140 plus 50, right?
Yeah, 190.
Yeah, both will be unfavorable. Clear? Okay. Then next coming to, so this will give you what? The actual quantity, actual hours you are used. Here, this is what actual quantity into standard hours we were supposed to take. So then once the variance has been calculated, the next step is to analyze the reason for that. Okay. Here, an unfavorable labor variance efficiency means that workers are spending too much time on production process, which is normally undesirable. Clear? If it's an unfavorable situation in efficiency, that means either they are normally taking more time than they were supposed to take. So, however, it may be caused by using workers with less skill than anticipated, in which case the labor rate variance may be favorable. So, if you are taking an unskilled labor, we don't have to pay the full amount, right? Full rate what is in the market. Then another explanation is the use of low quality material that require extra time in the production process, in which case the material price variance may be favorable. Got it? If you are having an unfavorable labor efficiency, there is two red flags. Either you have recruited some unskilled labor, or you recruited skilled labor, but the problem is that the material which you are using is not a low quality material. Got it? Any doubts? Then, at a favorable labor efficiency variance is almost always desirable. It means that the employees are working efficiently and have been to complete production in fewer hours than anticipated. It is considered a production department efficiency. Clear? We'll see a question here. Okay. Showdown Incorporation estimated output for the period as 18,000 units. However, actual output was 16,500 units. 16,500 units. So 18,000 was their standard. Okay, 16,500 is your actual. Clear. Next, coming to okay, standard direct labor was estimated at 3 per hour unit, but the actual usage was 3.25. We were expecting that this particular product will be completed, each product will be completed in 3 hours, but employers took 3.25 hours. From this itself, you will understand the efficiency variance will be unfavorable. Correct? Is it fine for everyone? Then comes next one. The standard price was 5.5, but the actual price was 6. So here also the price is also unfavorable. Clear? From before calculating the final answer, you can come to a conclusion what will be the answer, whether it's a favorable or unfavorable. Got it? Coming here. So direct labor variance, when you calculate static budget direct labor, that will be 18,000 units. That's our standard. And the rate, labor hours was 3, correct? Standard labor hours was 3. So 15,000 hours, 54,000 is the standard total output quantity. Okay. And your rate was 5.5. So this is your static budget figure. Okay. Next comes the, we will check the actual direct labor. That is 16,500 is the actual quantity. Okay. And labor hours you took this 3.25. Okay. So 16,500 to 3.25, you will get 53,000. And the price was 6. So your total labor rate will be 321. Then comes the flexible budget. In flexible budget direct labor, what happens? We are taking quantity as actual multiplied by the standard rates, standard labor hours and the standard price. Clear? Got it? Okay. Then, so what happens here? Your direct labor variance will be how much? Rate variance. So in rate, how much is your variance? 5.5 and 6, right? 50 fills, 50 cents is your variance. So what brought you variance? Like what is the actual output? 53,625, right? So 53,625 into 0.05. Clear? Then comes the labor efficiency variance. So here we have to take what, how much quantity we have produced or used. Okay, compared to the flexible budget. So this is what, with the standard hours, you're comparing the standard hours with the actual units. Got it? So 53,625 minus 49,500, you will get the quantity variance, okay, multiplied by the rate. So you will get the efficiency variance unfavorable 22,688. The total 49,501. Clear? Next. Then service organization. In a service organization, the direct labor variance are usually more relevant than the direct material variance. Why? Because in service oriented organization, our billing is based on the service hours, right? And for example, it's an IT company, software based company, then labor hours is more important for them. Then a relatively large investment is made in the direct labor and only a minor investment in direct materials are done. Clear? Mix and yield variance. Mix and yield variance. Sometimes what happens, you might be producing one product with different substitutes. So what happens, one substitute's quality might affect the total product's quality. Okay, or materials used will be different. So here, in some production process, inputs are substitutable. For example, a baker of pecan pieces may use pecan for Florida instead of Georgia, or higher skilled labor instead of lower skilled labor. Here, we are checking if we change our material, what will happen? Clear. Then, given substitute inputs, the direct material quantity variance consists of the material mix variance and the material yield variance. So material yield variance is equivalent to efficiency, right? Yeah. Then a favorable material mix variance means that more lower price materials were used than budgeted. Clear?
Or unfavorable.
You should not read like that. If your sentence is like that, it's actually two sentences. So first sentence will be a favorable material mix variance means that more lower price materials were used than the budget. Next sentence is that a unfavorable material mix variance means that less
No.
lower price materials were used in the budget. Clear? Next sentence. A favorable material yield variance means that less materials than budgeted were used to produce the output. Clear? Yeah. Okay. Given suitable inputs, the direct labor efficiency variance consists of the labor mix variance and the labor yield variance. A favorable labor mix variance means that the lower paid employees worked more hours than the higher paid employees worked less hours than the budgeted. Clear? Okay, if you're having a favorable labor mix means, for example, you have two kind of labors. One labor, for example, you have two employees. We'll make it simple. One is a lower skilled labor, so he's having less paid. The other one is high skilled labor, but he's paid more. For example, in this situation, the lower skilled labor, that means the one who is cheaper, he worked more hours, or he worked more productively. Then what happens? The company's total profit will be more, right? Clear. So that's what the favorable labor mix. So if you're having a favorable labor mix, that means the one who is get lower paid, he is working more efficiently than the one who is paying paid more. Got it?
Yeah.
Then a favorable labor yield variance means that less hours than budgeted were used to produce the output. Clear? Done. Then so to calculate these variances, the entity must determine the weighted average standard price using the standard mix of inputs and standard prices and actual mix of inputs at standard prices. This is what we normally do, right? Actual mix into standard price. Okay, this is we call it as flexible budget, right? Actual quantity into standard price is a flexible budget. Then standard mix into standard price is actually static budget. Clear? Then coming to an example here. A retail store budgets its employees' hours for the upcoming month and calculates its weighted average standard price of wages using the standard mix as follows. Okay, so here budget hours, standard mix and standard price. So managers who is budget hours is 200 and sales associate 800, warehouse 600. So total hours is 1600 and the rates, standard rates were 22, 14 and 8. So you will get a subtotal. So 20,400, right? So 20,400 is the total amount divided by number of hours. You will get what? Weighted average rate of what we see, standard mix and standard price. Clear? So that is 12.75. So this is the standard rate. Clear? Next, after the month end, the store employees the actual working hours to calculate the weighted average standard price. So after 1 month, we will get the actual figures, right? So when the actual figures came, the managers work 220 hours, sales associate work 800 hours, and warehouse people work 480 hours. So their rates were with standard price. Clear? So yeah. So you will get a weighted average price of 19,880 divided by 1,500 hours. You will get 13.2533. So here is the actual mix into standard price. See here what happened? Your mix got shuffled, right? So in this case, what happened? Your managers worked more hours. So what happened? Your expense got increased. Clear? And the one who is having lesser salary worked lesser hours. Clear? Yeah. So the mix variance means the relative use of higher priced and lower priced inputs in the production process based on standard input price and actual total quantity of inputs. So here, if you want to find out the mix variance, we have to take actual total quantity multiplied by the standard mix minus actual mix. Clear? So here we are getting the price variance, right? Standard mix, standard price minus actual mix standard price. So here what we get is the mix variance. Got it? Okay, so now here the same question. If you're calculating the labor mix variance, what happens? Total actual total quantity is 1,500 units, right? Multiply by 12.75 and 13.25. So there is a unfavorable $755 of labor mix variance. Clear? This variance was unfavorable because higher paid managers worked more hours and lower paid warehouse employees work fewer hours than budgeted. So when you do the analysis or costing, you have to give this conclusion. Otherwise, if you did your calculation, even in exam also for essay questions, you did the calculation and you stopped here. 755 unfavorable. Unfavorable. It doesn't mean anything for anyone who uses this report, right? So you have to give the conclusion that the higher paid, why there is the unfavorable situation. For that, when you become a management accountant, for your review result, they are paying. This calculation anyone can do, even softwares can do, Excel can do it. Clear. So analysis is more important. The yield variance associated with the effect of difference between the actual quantity of the inputs and the standard total quantity. So here, yield variance, how we will calculate? Standard quantity minus actual quantity minus standard mix price. Clear? So standard mix price we got 12.5. So we were supposed to have 1,600 hours, but we took only 1,500 hours to complete the work. So we are having 100 hours of favorable situation, right? We took lesser hours. So 100 hours into 12.5, you will get a 100,275 favorable. Clear? So the variance was favorable because fewer hours than budgeted were used to produce the output. The sum of the mix and yield variance will give the efficiency variance, that is 520 favorable. Clear? Because in one case there is unfavorable and one case there was favorable, which is more than the unfavorable. So you got a favorable result. Next comes overhead variances. So in overhead variances, we have two categories, like variable overhead variance and fixed overhead variance. So both have two variances. Just like for every variances, we have two areas, right? One is price variance and one is the efficiency variance. If you are talking about material or labor or overhead or fixed, all these have two categories. Clear? So when it comes to overhead, inside the overhead itself, there is two things, right? Fixed and variable. Fixed overhead and variable overhead. So variable overhead, we will divide it into two areas. One is spending variance, that is a rate variance. We call it as spending variance, but actually it is a rate variance, right? So here, yes, anyone have doubt? Yeah. Okay, then. Variable overhead. The total variable overhead variance is the flexible budget variance. It is the difference between actual variable overhead and the amount applied based on the budgeted application rate and the standard input allowed for the actual quantity. So here, actual variable overhead, that means whatever we have paid for the variable overhead. Okay, that's the actual figure minus budgeted application rate into actual units. So here, for example, we produced 10 actual units. Okay, see. Do you remember the application rate which you studied when we are discussing about job posting and this ABC analysis? Okay, so there is something called application rate for overhead. Anyone remember that? Yusuf, Lawrence, Mohammed, you
I
remember?
can't remember the rule. I remember the application rate,
Yes.
but the rule I can't remember. That.
Okay. So the calculation is very simple. For example, your is a machine-oriented company or labor-oriented, labor-intensive unit you are having, and you know what is the direct material, what is the direct labor, but you don't know what is the overhead expenses. So the overhead expenses, it means it all comes everything. That means what we say, the property taxes, rents, electricity, all these things comes. We can't allocate to a particular product. So what we are doing is normally we take the total budgeted expense, overhead expense for the next year, divided by total number of hours we expect for the labors. For example, next year we are expecting 5,000 labor hours, and we expect a 500,000 as. I'll come to the next sheet. Okay. See, for example, your estimated overhead for the coming year is 525,000, for example. Okay, this is actually dollar. Okay, and your estimated cost driver, we call it as cost driver. If you're a labor intensive business, it is a number of labor hours. If you're a machine intensive, then it's a machine hour. When it comes to ABC costing, what happens here? Not ABC costing. No. Job order costing, process costing, and what was the other one? Activity based cost. Yeah, that is ABC. Activity based costing. What happens is that each activity we have different kind of things, different kind of cost. So this different kind of cost will have different kind of cost drivers. For example, we are having in a production there is 3 activity to be done. So for one particular activity, we might put material, we might put labor, and we might put other expenses overhead like what we say, rent, electricity. For this rent, electricity, and everything, we have separate cost drivers. Clear. So same way, if for making it easily, we will take the cost driver as labor hours here. Okay. Clear. So we were expecting a labor hours of, for example, 10,000 labor hours. Okay. So what will be your application rate? Application rate will be 525,000 divided by 52.5. That means for 1 hour, your rate is 52.5. If you are using 1 hour of your labor for producing something, okay, then that labor hour plus overhead. For example, what is the cost sheet format? Like you will have direct material, direct labor, and overhead, right? So for example, for producing one particular product, I spend 150 material, and labor rate is for 125, for example. Okay, this is all dollars. Okay, and I spend 2 hours for producing this. Okay, I spend 2 hours for producing particular product. So what should be my overhead application? So that will be 52.5 into 2 hours. Clear? So this will be the total cost of that particular product. Clear? Is it everyone clear for the application overhead application? Okay, then one more thing is that when we are doing on this basis or application basis, we will have a control account normally. So whatever we spend on overhead, it will go to the control account. Okay, so there's a control account where we charge all the amounts. So at the end of the year, what we'll do, the we'll take whatever we have applied on the overhead. We will take the total of the application overhead application account, and we will compare with the control account. Control account is the real cash flow account, cash account, which we actually paid. So when we compared, for example, it was overhead estimated was like, for example, actual was 600,000. Okay, we applied only 575,000. That means 25,000 we are under applied. So we have to charge this 25,000 to the cost of goods produced. Clear? That's what the process we study in chapter number 7 and 8. We have studied already. So this is one basic which we have to use here. The variance analysis also. Clear? So now coming to actual variable overhead minus budgeted application rate. That's what we calculated as per the estimated expense divided by estimated cost driver. Clear? Into standard cost driver per unit into actual units. So coming to an example here. Okay. So we have spent some variable overhead, like variable overhead as, for example, 75,000 is spent. Okay, is what we actually spent. Then comes the budgeted rate. For example, we calculated 52.5. Okay, so next we are going to check how much products we produced. Okay, number of units we produced. That's the actual unit, right? Actual unit unit is, for example, 1,500. Okay, 1,500 units we produce. Okay, then it is normally taking 3 hours to produce 1 unit. So, for example, if it is a machine hour, we can consider this as a machine hour. Standard cost driver per unit of machine hour. If it's a labor hour, we can take it as labor hour. Clear? So what actually drives this particular variable cost? If this particular variable cost is influenced by machine hours, then we will take it machine hours. For example, if you are talking about maintenance of machine, that's a variable cost, right? So for example, we did maintenance of machine 75,000. Clear? So this is actually we paid for the maintenance department. Clear? Now, here we are taking what budgeted rate we already have. Then standard rate is, for example, we are producing 1,500 units and we are normally taking 3 hours to complete. Okay, standard labor hours. Okay, done. So 1,500 into 3 is the labor hours we are using. Clear? So for 4,500 into 52.5. Oh, this is too much, right? So I'll make it as 250. Okay, see. Now what happens here? Actually, you spent 7,500, but you were estimating how much? 78,500. Clear? So now it is a favorable situation. Got it? You understand how the calculation goes, right? Jenna? Are you lost? Okay, fine. So then variable overhead includes the following. There is a spending variance. That is the difference between the actual variable overhead and the product of the budgeted application rate and the actual amount of the allocation base. So here, spending variance, that is actual allocation base into actual application rate minus actual application base multiplied by budgeted rate. See, here all, when you compare all the formulas, it gives you the same pattern. So when you, for example, you take this for material price variance, what you will normally take? Quantity multiplied by rate. Actual quantity multiplied by actual rate minus actual quantity into standard rate. Clear? The same method works here also. Okay. So, or we can make the formula as actual allocation base into actual application rate minus budget application rate. Clear? So The variable overhead spending variance is favorable or unfavorable if the production spending is less or more, respectively, than the standard. Then next comes the efficiency variance. So in efficiency variance, what will be our base? We normally, when we compare the efficiency variance, we always take the budgeted rate multiplied by the actual quantity minus standard quantity, right? Clear? This is what normally we take. The same thing we have done here also. So efficiency variance is the budget application rate times the difference between the actual allocation base and the standard input allowed for the actual quantity. Clear? So actual allocation base means how many quantity minus actual units multiplied by standard cost driver per unit. Clear? What? So the variable overhead applied equals the flexible budget amount of the actual output. The reason is that the unit variable costs are assumed to be constant with the relevant range. Within the relevant range. So the total overhead variance is what? Variable overhead spending variance, variable overhead efficiency variance, fixed overhead spending variance, and fixed overhead production volume variance. Clear? Always remember there is always price variance and quantity variance. We call it as price variance, spending variance, or a rate variance. If when it comes to the efficiency or quantity, it's efficiency, yield, or production order. Clear? We call different names, but the basic idea is same. So if variable overhead is applied on the base of output, no inputs, no efficiency variance arises. The variable overhead efficiency variance is related to the labor efficiency. The variance if overhead is applied to production on the base of the direct labor hours. For example, that labor efficiency variance is unfavorable. The overhead efficiency variance also is unfavorable because it's based on the same number of inputted hours. Clear? Then here. So when you how you get the spending variance, that is actual variable overhead minus actual input into budgeted application rate, right? This is the one formula we discussed above. Then for the efficiency variance is the actual input into budget application rate minus standard input allowed into budget application rate. Clear? Why it's efficient? Because its efficiency rate is constant. Clear? Only the quantity changes. Clear? So in between US okay, fine. Variable order variance, one question is there. So Chowdown Incorporation estimated output for the period of 18,000. However, the actual output was 16,500. Standard process time is 1.2 machine hours per unit. Okay. But actual usage was 1.3 machine hours. From here itself, you can understand there is an efficiency variance which is unfavorable. Clear? Then the standard application rate was 8 per machine hours, but the actual was 10 per machine hours. So here rate variance is also, that means spending variance is also unfavorable. So now second part is that how to calculate it. That's it. Same. So here static budget variance, how you will calculate is you will take the budgeted units multiplied by budgeted machine hours per hour. So you will get 21,600 hours, right? So 21,600 hours into application rate, that is 8 per machine hour. So 7,800. Clear? Next is next you will check the actual one. What is the actual happening? Actually 16,500 into 1.3 machine hours, you will get 21,450 machine hours. Okay. Into 10 rate. 10 is the rate. So 214,500. So you will use the same quantity, actual quantity multiplied by all the cost driver and the rate. Rate will be standard and cost driver will be standard. Clear? So I hope you understood this question. Any doubt? Come on, ask. So say where you have a confusion, let me know. Okay, we will go forward, right? Or just you want to explain it again?
No, it's fine. It's the same with the.
Yeah, same with the- If you don't understand the basic like material and labor, you don't understand all these things. So that fixed overhead. So the total fixed overhead variance is the difference between actual fixed overhead and the product of the budgeted application rate and the standard input allowed for the actual output. So actual fixed overhead minus budgeted rate into standard cost driver into actual units. Clear? The same way. Then fixed overhead includes the following. There is a spending variance and the efficiency, like the production variance. Clear? So the fixed overhead spending variance, also known as budget variance, is the easiest to calculate because it's the difference between actual fixed overhead minus budgeted fixed overhead. Clear? Then this variance is the same as a fixed overhead flexible budget variance. The reason is that the static budget lump sum of fixed overhead is also the flexible budget amount over the relevant range of output. So when it comes to the fixed overhead, what is that? Fixed overhead means fixed cost, right? Kind of fixed cost. So whether you produce 1 unit or you produce 10,000 units, your fixed overhead will be the same. So that's why when you take it, it's very easy. When you take the flexible budget variance or static budget variance, you will get the same answer. Clear? And second thing, this will be same within the range. Like fixed cost will not vary within a particular range, right? For example, your capacity is for 10,000 units. Then within 10,000 units, whatever the cost, it will not vary. But if you want to increase your production capacity to 50,000, then you have to implement more machines. Then additional depreciation will come, additional maintenance will come. Clear? So that's why they say it's a relevant range. Then, moreover, the efficiency of the production does not affect the fixed overhead variances. Thus, an efficiency variance is calculated for variable but not fixed overhead. Then the fixed overhead variance is simply attributable to more or less spending by the production function, where the difference is justified should be investigated. If the budgeted fixed overhead is 450,000 for 18,000 units with a standard cost of $25 per unit, and the actual cost is 429,000 units for 16,500. The fixed overhead spending variance is 21,000 favorable. Clear? Whatever. Say we estimated a fixed overhead as 450,000 for producing 18,000 units. Okay, with a standard cost of 25 per unit, and the actual cost is now 429,000. Okay, so here when it comes to the fixed overhead, it doesn't have any relevance for the unit produced. Got it? Whether we produce 1 unit or 100 unit or 10,000 units, this fixed cost is same. But we estimated 450, but actually we spent only 429. So that's a good thing. So that's a favorable variance. Clear? This was calculated by deducting 429,000 actual cost with the 450,000 budgeted. The difference in units produced is not considered. Okay. The firm spent 21,000 less in the fixed cost than was anticipated. Clear? Got it. Next comes the production volume variance. Production volume variance or idle capacity variance or denominator level variance is the difference between budgeted fixed overhead and the product of the budgeted application rate and the standard input allowed for the actual output. Okay. So we have a fixed overhead budget. Okay. Then now what we are going to do? We are taking actual units multiplied by the cost driver. Clear? So then you will get a standard, what we say, flexible standard hours. Clear? Flexible budget. Got it? That we multiply with the budgeted rate. Okay. Clear? And we are comparing with our actual fixed overhead. Clear? Sir, I think you have some doubt.
Budgeted fixed overhead.
Budgeted fixed overhead. Yeah, budgeted fixed overhead. Yeah, budgeted fixed overhead get variance. Why? Because of the actual units which you are producing. Got it? Clear?
So that 450,000 we can get.
Yes, 450,000 comes here. Minus.
Application rate, it is 25,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Channel cost driver per unit. In this question, they haven't given the standard cost driver, right? So a standard cost driver into actual units. Okay. So we will have a full question, like which will cover all these areas. Okay. Then this variance results when production capacity differs from capacity usage. A favorable variance occurs when overhead applied is more than budgeted fixed cost. For example, variance is favorable when actual production exceeds planned production. Clear? Okay. So we planned for 15,000 units, but we produced 18,000 units. So that is a favorable situation. And the production volume variance is typically not the fault of the production function. The sales staff often is blamed or rewarded for a volume variance. If sales are greater than expected, production increases and the variance may be favorable. An unfavorable volume variance may be caused by low sales or by production shutdown, perhaps due to labor strike, power failure, natural disaster, etc. In these cases, the variance is attributable to actions of the general administration of the entity or to the uncontrollable external factors. So spending and flexible budget variance, how will get actual fixed overhead and budgeted fixed overhead. Okay. Then what do you have? Production volume variance, we have budgeted fixed overhead minus standard input allowed multiplied by budget application rate. Okay. Now coming to question here. So here, Chowdown Incorporation estimated output for the period 18,000 units. However, the actual output was 16,500 units. Fixed overhead is applied at $25 per unit sold, but actual cost per unit was 26. So the fixed overhead variance are calculated as follows. So static, how will take static and flexible budgeted budget fixed overhead, that is 18,000 units into cost driver. They haven't said, so we will assume it as 1 hour per unit. Clear?
1 unit,
1 per unit. That means, for example, they haven't mentioned, right, what is the cost driver. They have just given the units only. So we will assume that to produce 1 unit, it takes only 1 hour, whether it's a machine or labor. Clear? So 18,000 will be the hours we have used. Okay, 18,000 into 1, that is 18,000 into 25 rate. So 450,000. Clear? Then we will have the actual fixed overhead, that is 16,500 into 26, that is 429,000. Okay. Then applied fixed overhead, that is 16,500 actual rate multiplied by standard application rate. Clear? So what happens here? Fixed overhead spending variance will be 450,000 minus 429,000. That is 21,000 favorable, right? Then fixed overhead production variance is that 450,000 is the budgeted, right? Minus you have 25 is the standard rate multiplied by number of hours. So 16,500 is the quantity which you are producing multiplied by the standard production time. Clear? General. So you will get 37,500 as unfavorable. Clear? So the production volume variance is unfavorable because it indicates that fixed overhead was under allocated to actual units output. The variance is the amount of fixed overhead incurred for unused production capacity. So analysis for overhead variances. So when you do the analysis for overhead variances, you can show it in three ways, like four-way overhead variance analysis, three-way overhead variance analysis, and two-way variance analysis. So two-way means you will show only the flexible budget variance and production volume variance. Clear? Then when it comes to three-way, what you will show? You will show spending variance, efficiency variance, and production volume variance. Clear? So when it comes to okay, we will come from top. For example, four-way overhead variance analysis, it shows all the variances. Like in variable, what we have? Spending variance, that means the rate variance and the efficiency variance. Clear? And for fixed overhead, we have spending variance and we don't have the efficiency variance, but we have production volume variance. Clear? So when we are having a three-way, like we want to, we don't want to bifurcate variable or fixed overhead. We just want to show spending variance and efficiency variance and production volume variance. So how we will show? That is 42,900 minus 21,000. This 21,000 is favorable, right? And 42,900 is unfavorable. So net is 21,900 is the total spending variance. Clear? And for efficiency variance 13,200 and production volume variance 37,500. Next, you want to get only the flexible budget variance. Okay.
Naveen, what is the difference of spending variance and production volume variance?
Spending variance
and the production volume variance.
Yeah, spending variance means, see here, in spending variance, what we are comparing is the rate variance. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
In production volume variance, here we are comparing what we were estimated and how much we produced.
And the production.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, see. So when it comes to check the total overhead variance, we have flexible budget variance as unfavorable 31,000 and production volume variance 37,500. So this flexible budget variance is the total of spending variance and efficiency variance. Okay. Then the flexible budget variance in two-way analysis is also called as controllable variance. It's a portion of the total variance not attributable to the production volume variances. Clear? Summary of formulas we have. So these are the formulas which we already discussed. Okay, direct material variance, direct labor variance, and mix variance. Okay, so here we have a complete question which covers all these areas. So in the question we have actual amounts and standard amounts. We have actual units, standard units, actual selling price, and standard selling price. Materials per unit. That means to manufacturing one unit, how much material we have to put as input. That is 1.5 as actual it happened, and in standard it was 2. So, okay, coming here. Selling price. So in selling price variance, what will be, whether it is favorable or unfavorable? Anyone? Selling price.
Unfavorable. Favorable.
Favorable, right? We were estimating to sell for 63, but we actually sold it for 65. So $2 is favorable. Okay. Next, coming to material per unit. So what happens here? This is material per unit is considered where? In which variance? In material variance, what all we have?
Favorable.
Yeah, it's favorable, but under which it will come? Material price variance or material efficiency variance? Like material yield variance.
Material price.
Price? This is, we are talking about quantity. Material yield variance, right? Materials per unit, like input material, we were estimating to put 2 input, okay, for 1 output. But ultimately, in actually what happened, we had good quality of material. So we had to put only 1.5 units as input. That give us a 1 full complete output. Got it? Everyone?
Yeah, but the price difference also there. No?
No, we are coming to that. See, here in material variance, we have 2 branches, right? One is material yield variance and material price variance. Clear? So under yield variance, we will have a favorable situation. And when it comes to the material price, it will have a unfavorable situation, right? So from this point, okay.
Can you show an example?
No example,
Like,
this is a question, Rajesh. Come on. This itself is an example. Okay. Now give me material variance. Give me the amount, answer. Don't scroll down or turn your book. So tell me what will be the actual material, total material variance, whether it will be favorable or unfavorable. You didn't understand my question, Lawrence?
No, I think this one would be favorable because 6 times 2, you mean like this, 6 times 2?
6 times 2, it will be 12, right?
And 7 times 1.5 is 10.5.
It's 10.5. So for the material, total material variance will be favorable. Correct?
Yeah.
Got it? That is a concept I want you people to understand. Got it?
So Nadeem, one question. Materials per unit is favorable, but materials as per price is not favorable, unfavorable.
Yes,
And in total variance, it is favorable.
favorable.
Okay.
Okay, got it? So,
Yes.
fine.
Yeah,
Lawrence?
this material price unit means it's a quantity, right?
Material price unit is quantity. Yes,
Yeah, I thought it was a price. That was confusion.
that's
Or
right.
unit price. Okay.
Okay, now it's fine. Rajesh?
Yeah.
Good enough. Next comes to the labor hour per unit. Okay, that is labor hours per unit. Here we are talking not rate, okay, hours. So we were expecting to standard rate, we were expecting in 3 hours we will finish one work, correct? But actually we took 3.5 hours. Is it favorable or unfavorable? Unfavorable, right? That means we might have recruited some inefficient or unskilled labors. Next comes the price variance. So price also what happened? We were expecting as 5, but actually we recruited someone for 5.5. So price is also unfavorable. So ultimately what happens? Total labor variance will be unfavorable because price variance and efficiency variance are both unfavorable, right? Next comes machine hours rate is given. Now we will go to the question. So we will calculate our revenue here with actual result, okay, flexible budget, and our static budget. Okay. So now coming to the point, which is more easy for you. First, we will calculate the static budget, right? Static budget means standard units into standard price. So here, sales we were expecting 6,000 units, right? Yes, both in one page so that it is easy to discuss. Okay. 6 into 63 will be your sales. Correct? 6 into 63, 378 is your sales. Clear? Then, so materials per unit is 2. So 2 into 6,000, that is 12,000 units you are taking, right? 12,000 units into, what is the rate? 6, right?
Material price, yeah.
6,000 into 2 is 12,000, 12,000 into 6, how much it will come? 60 and 72,000, right?
Yeah.
72,000. Next, direct labor. Okay, do one thing. Direct labor, how you want to calculate? What is our standard? 3 hours, right? 3 hours into 6,000. So 18,000, right? 18,000 into 5. So it should be 90,000, right? Clear? Still this is okay, fine? Okay, then comes variable overhead. What happens? Variable overhead application rate is 3 per machine hour. Okay, so $3 per machine hour. So how much machine hours we are taking? That is 1.5 machine hours, right? According to standard, we are supposed to finish one product in 1.5 hours. So we are producing 6,000 units, right? So 9,000 hours we are taking, machine hours. 9,000 into 3. 9 into 3, 27, right? All of you clear?
Again, please, Nadim, why we took 9?
Why I took 9?
No, you said 9,000, yeah?
Okay, I will come to that. See, machine hours per unit is how much? 1.5 hours, right?
1.5, yes.
Okay. So when we take the variable overhead application rate, okay, so they have mentioned the application variable overhead is applied on the basis of machine hours. Clear?
Yes,
So machine hours is 1.5 hours. We need to complete one unit, right?
yes,
So we produce how many units? 6,000 units, right?
yes.
6,000 into 1.5, how much?
9,000. Okay.
9,000. Got it?
Okay, yes, yes.
9,000 hours multiplied by
Three.
$3.
27,000. Okay.
Okay, 27,000.
Yes.
Next comes fixed overhead application rate. So here is 7.5 per machine hour. Okay. So here also we'll take machine hours as 1.5 into 9,000 into 7.5, right? Is it right? 9,000 into 7.5. So 67,500. Clear? Is it fine for everyone? Static budget?
9,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9,000 into 7.5. That is 67,500. Clear? Done, right? So revenue minus your variable cost, you will get your contribution margin as 189,000 minus your fixed cost, you will get your operation profit. Clear? Now, easiest way, first we completed our standard static budget. Now, what we should do? This the step is for easy calculation. Okay. First, we will calculate the static budget there. Then we will calculate the actual result. Okay. Which one? 67,500. What is
Fixed hour per head, how does it?
67,000? Okay. So here, fixed overhead application rate is 7.5 per machine hour. So how much machine hour we are taking? 1.5 machine hours. So 1.5 into 6,000. That is 9,000, right? 9,000 into 7.5. You just now said 9,000 into 7.5. Okay. Now you can ask. Okay, right. Then comes to the actual results. Okay. Now how you will calculate your actual result? How much units you sold? 7,000 units, right? 7,000 into 65, you will get your revenue. Clear? Jenna? This covers all what we studied, so don't worry. Okay, this one question will cover all the areas. So 7 into 65, right? 7,000 into 65, that is 455,000. Say revenue. Okay, use your calculator. So for everyone, it's fine. Then we will have direct material, direct labor, variable overhead. Then we will have fixed overhead. Okay, so we are going to do this for actual, right? There's 7,000 units. That is 65 into 7,000, right? Clear?
Yes.
65 into 7,000. Then what is our direct material? That is 1.5 materials we took, right? For one completed unit. Clear? So that is 1.5 into 7,000 units into what is the rate?
7.
7. Clear? And for direct labor, what is our step? We are supposed to take 3.5 hours, right? So 3.5 into 7,000 units, clear? Into 5.5. Anyone have doubt on this? Okay, fine, right? Okay. Then comes the variable overhead. So variable overhead, how we are going to calculate? That is 2 machine hours they took for 7,000 units, right? Into what is our rate? 4 per machine hour. Sorry guys. So what we are talking, okay. So this, all of you can hear, right? Lawrence?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we calculate our variable overhead. That is how we calculated. 2 into 7,000 into 4 machine hours. So next point to fix it overhead way. What happens to fix it overhead? That is 2 machine hours into 7,000 into 8. And then 12,000. So what was the budgeted one? Budgeted was 67,500, right? Okay. So now we have done with, okay, revenue is there. We will get our total cost, total variable cost. Then we will get our contribution. That is 5,500 minus this. And 90 minus fixed cost. 8,500. Clear? Now, then comes the actual quantity into standard. We call it as what? Flexi, right? Flexible budget. Clear? So now come to this point. What happens here? We sold 7,000 actual quantity, right? Yeah. So at what price we sold? 75 into standard rate was 63. Okay. Into 63. Clear? Anyone doesn't understand this point? Let me know why we are doing this. Rajesh? All of you can hear, right? It's fine. Okay.
Yes.
Then coming to the direct material. So direct material, what it was saying, how much is we are having? Direct material. So direct material, what we are going to do is rate we will take from the standard. Quantity we will take from the actual. Clear? So coming here, actual quantity is 7,000 into what is the actual machine hours we direct material we have 1.5.
Standard, right? Standard.
Just into prices out 6.
Times 6.
2 or 1.5? Okay, sorry, 2. Let's say 4,000. Clear. Then direct labor 7,000 into what is our standard?
6.
Okay,
Labor price, right?
yeah, 3 into 5 into 7,000, right? 3 into 5 into 7,000. Okay, 105,000. Yep. Then comes variable also. What happens here? Variable overhead is 7,000 into 3 into 1.5. Clear. So okay, then fixed overhead, what will happen? 7,000 into 7.5 into 1.5, right? So say it is 78,500.
Margin is the same as the terminal.
It was almost half. That's right. Exact half. That's right. So 41,500. 750. Okay. Now, so actually we were supposed to keep. Okay. So here, what happens here? We have a variance, right? Actual minus flexible. 14,000, which is actually favorable, right? Then actual minus direct materials are unfavorable. No. Okay. When it comes to expense, a formula is standard minus actual. Okay. So this 10,000 contribution margin is unfavorable, actually, right? We were expecting 22,500, but then for the expense and for the profit is also unfavorable, right? No, it's unfavorable actually.
Here,
Yeah.
Nadim, we are taking the variances, yeah?
Yes, I am taking the variances. Got it? So this is a flexible variance, right? Total flexible budget variance. So here we are comparing our actual figures with our flexible budget. Clear. Then we are going to compare our flexible with our standard. Actually, we are supposed to do this, right? 3, right? And 6,000 into 1 point. Okay, it's 2, right? 2 into 6. Correct? Yeah. And for labor is 6,000. 3 into 5 point. Okay, 6. 72, 90, and 27. 72 is 90. 90. And 27. 27,000. It was how much? 67,000. 67,500. Now, from this itself, we will understand from when we are comparing the standard with flexible. Flexible is having a favorable, we'll say, profit, right? Static budget to compare. Okay, done. So, for example, you are comparing your standard minus static minus actual. That is 47,250. That is a total static budget variance. Clear? Static budget variance means we compare our static budget with our actual fee. Clear? Then comes here the sales volume variance is by that is 20,550. Here sales volume variance why? Because we compare what we say flexible budget with our static budget. Clear? Then when we compare the actual budget with the flexible budget, you will get your total flexible budget variance. Clear? So this whatever calculations we did, they have shown here. So flexible budget 24,500 is there. Yeah, 24,500. So okay, now going in detail, now we got all the variances right. Now we have to understand where is the variance happening, right? See, when we have here, we have the material variance, okay, favorable 10,500, correct? So this favorable variance, how it happened, okay? So that is because we have the price variance and quantity variance. You'll have to calculate the price variance, that is actual quantity multiplied by actual material units, right? Into actual price minus standard price. So 10,500 is the unfavorable one, the price. So from when we discuss in the initial stage, we said the price variance is unfavorable, correct? When it comes to the quantity, what do we say? It was favorable, right?
Yeah,
You wrote it in the text.
selling price,
No.
material.
Material. Not material. This one. Yield. We estimated as 2, but it's 1.5. It is favorable, right? So that is what we calculated here. Standard price into actual units into actual materials. 7,000 into 1.5. Okay, minus 7,000 into 2, 14,000. Clear. So 10,500 minus 14,000 into 6, that is 21,000 favorable. Got it? So then labor variance also we do the same way. Actual units into actual labor hours, you will get the actual labor cost. Okay, into actual price minus like what is it? Actual labor hours we will get multiplied by the price variance. Actual price minus standard price. So you will get 10,250 as unfavorable, and efficiency variance also you will get unfavorable. Why? Because you are using more hours to produce, right? 7,000 into 3.5 minus 7,000 into 3 into rate, standard rate, that's $5. So 70,500 is unfavorable. So your total you will get 29,750. Clear? Variable overhead variance, spending variance we calculate actual allocation basis what? How much? 14,000, right? 7,000 into 2. 2 was what you see? Machine hours. 7,000 into 2, that is 14,000. Okay. Then we have the rate, which is 4 and 3, right? See, did you see the question? Machine, sorry. Standard was 3, but actually it was 4 per machine hour, right? So that is $1 is the difference. So that is 7,000 into 14,000, 14,000 into 1. Clear? All of you? Okay. Then efficiency variance we calculate as actual allocation basis 14,000 units, right? 14,000 into 2, what we did, right? 7,000 into 2 minus standard cost driver. Standard was 1.5 hours we should take to complete one product. Clear? Machine hours 1.5 machine hours we should take. So 7,000 into 1.5. So that is 3,500 multiplied by 3 is the budgeted application rate. Clear? So 10,500 unfavorable. Clear? What? There is 1 point. There is 3 per machine hour unit, 2 machine hours per unit. Then what? Okay, fixed overhead. So actual fixed overhead we calculate as 112,000, right? And fixed static budget we calculated fixed overhead 67,500. So 44,500 is the unfavorable. Next comes to the production volume variance. That is budgeted overhead minus budgeted application rate into standard cost driver unit into actual units. Clear? Next, what else? Okay. Actual output at actual input and cost, and actual cost, which we have already calculated. Net unfavorable variances 77,000. Yes. Sales variance. Single product sales variance. Variance analysis. Okay. Any doubt in the last question? The complete question. Is it fine?
Can we expect this type of questions as a part of essay question?
Yeah, you can expect.
Because this is, I think, 99% this I can expect this type of question actually with variances.
Yeah, variances you will receive, but maybe sometimes, yeah, this will
Budget
take.
and everything.
Yeah, this will not take much time actually. When we
Yeah, agreed.
go on
Because
explaining,
this is all about formula based.
yeah, it's all formula based. Clear.
We don't have to use mind.
Yeah, mine, but see, one thing is important.
If
You
they're
need-
asking some practical things, then yeah.
Okay, one thing is important. If you don't understand the concept, you can't do the whole calculation, right?
Yeah.
So when you understand the concept, you don't need to by heart the formula.
No, that is fine. That is, yeah,
Yes.
I understand.
So
But are they giving the Excel sheet for this, for essay question?
yes, you will get Excel sheets.
Then
You
it
will
will take
get
time to,
no, you will get Excel sheet to calculate. Okay.
okay,
But
so how we have to present this, the answer?
you have to type and show it is in multiplication. Like for example, if you are
No, but,
doing spending
in
variance you are
which
doing
format?
typing word.
In Word only.
Yes. The essay question will be in a word format. In that, you have to do the calculation in an Excel sheet for the final answer. Like for example, you are finding the spending variance. So you have to establish
Okay.
that formula there. Then only they will understand this guy know some stuff. Got it?
Now, but this formula I have to type in Word as well.
Yes. To demonstrate
Oh.
that you know that.
We have to increase our typing speed.
I do not need much typing speed. See, ultimately, what happens when it in an examination hall, you will get 150% more typing speed than normal.
No, but it
So
should be correct.
don't.
We are not working in typing centers.
You give email replies, right?
Yeah, quickly.
Yes, that's fine. Then it's
I
then you
was
will
replying
pass
2
your
or 3 clients in this period.
Okay, so it will work. No worries.
Can we reduce the steps of typings? Like
Yeah, you
in
can do this.
max, then the answer is correct. You will get full mark now.
Yeah, you will get.
Same like we can reduce some steps.
No worries. But the basic steps should be there. Like for example, when you give this kind of answers, they should understand. You just put like what we say, actual allocation base into application rate. For example, you just when you had trouble, you just calculated the variable overhead flexible budget variance, 24,500. This normally you get from the first sheet which we did, right? Got
Yes.
it. So you have to establish that how you got this 24,500. Clear?
No, if we find this answer, if we reach this answer, it means our calculation all is correct. We know the concept.
It doesn't make that you understand things. Let's say from this sheet, okay, if you know this, you just know what is the material variance. Clear?
Okay.
But in material variance, there is two things. Material price variance and material yield variance. And in labor, you have two things. Labor rate variance and labor efficiency variance. Got it?
Okay.
That is the crux. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So the exam is conducted for us to showcase what we know. They will just give sometimes, like for example, one question. Normally, you will get this in part 2. But the one question which I saw was that your company is planning to move your production, going to give an outsourcing to a company which is in Sri Lanka, for example. Okay, and you need to move your all production to Sri Lanka. What is your opinion? And they will give you what your selling price, your manufacturing cost, details for calculating your cost, and details to calculate the outsourcing cost. Clear? They will just give you these things, and they will ask you, and you are the management accountant in your company. Advise CFO what decision should be taken. This question is very simple, right? They will give you the selling price, and they will give you the production, your production cost, your fixed cost and variable cost, and the outsourcing cost. That's it. And you're supposed to give a reply. So what you have to do now? You have to do your cost calculation. How much contribution margin you will get if you are producing, how much profit you will get. Clear? And you have to calculate the profit in outsourcing. Okay, then you have to compare the profit, and you need to say, okay, which method is profitable, whether outsourcing or in-house production. Even though outsourcing is profitable, you have to mention what are the advantages and disadvantages of In-house and outhouse. What is outsource? Got it? Dava?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is the place, the essay is the place where you have to showcase whatever you know. And you will not give a final conclusion that the CFO should go for outsourcing. You will say, these are the advantages and disadvantages. Now the management have to decide which to take. So you will just give your advice that this is the scenario. Got it. The same way here also, when you do the direct labor variance, then only you will understand why there is an unfavorable situation. Whether it is because of labor's inefficiency or because you hired someone with a higher rate. Clear? That you have to establish there. Got it. Yeah. Sales variance. So single product sales variance. Variance analysis is useful for evaluating not only the production function but also the selling function. If sales differs from the amount budgeted, the difference could be attributable to either the selling price variance or the sales volume variance. Like for example, we budgeted a sales of $100,000. Okay, when the sales is reached, we got a sales of $110,000 as sales. It can be either because we increased the price simply. We were normally selling at $1. Now we started standard selling price was $1, but in actual we sold it for $1.1 or $1.5. So in that case, what happens? We will have a favorable selling price variance, but the volume variance will be less. Got it? Because we are selling only lesser product. Got it? So next, coming to the analysis of this variance concentrate on contribution margin because fixed costs are assumed to be constant. For a single product, the sales price variance is the changes in the contribution margin attributable solely to the change in the selling price. It's holding quantity as constant. So selling price variance is equal to actual price minus selling price into actual quantity. Okay. Then here, when it comes to volume margin, that is actual quantity minus standard quantity into standard contribution margin. Clear? Then, for example, here, budgeted versus actual business. For example, a firm had budgeted sales of 10,000 units of its sold product at $17 per unit. Variable costs are expected to be 10 per unit and fixed costs are budgeted at 50,000. So what we have to do, you have to calculate the contribution margin. Here in the budgeted figure and actual figure, budgeted figure is 10,000 sales unit into $17, that's 170,000. Sales minus variable cost, we will get contribution margin, right? So 70,000 is your contribution margin minus your fixed cost 50,000. You will get an operating income of 20,000. Next, coming to actual cost, that is 11,000 units you sold for 16 per dollar. So still, what happens? Your sales increased by 6,000, right? In actual, why it is because you sold more products by giving a discount. 17 was your selling price. You are selling now for $16. Clear? And variable cost is 10 per unit. So 11,000 into 10. So 66,000 will be your contribution margin. Okay. Then here, when it comes to unit contribution margin, that is 70,000 is your contribution margin divided by 10,000 units. That is 7 is the contribution margin budgeted, and naturally it is $6. So when it comes to sales price variance, how it is $16 actual minus $17 budget standard into 11,000 actual units. So you will get 11,000 unfavorable. Clear? Why? Because you reduce your price. That's why it's unfavorable. Then sales volume variance, actual quantity was 11,000 and you budgeted for 10,000 units. So 1,000 units is more you sold, okay, and your contribution margin is 7. So $7,000 is a favorable volume variance. Clear? Sales price variance 7,000 plus the sales volume variance 7,000. Sales price variance 11,000 unfavorable and sales volume variance 7,000 favorable. It will give you a contribution total change in the contribution margin 4,000 units unfavorable. Clear? Then. So a similar analysis may be done for cost of goods sold. The average production cost per unit is used instead of the average unit selling price, but the quantities for the unit production are the same. Accordingly, the overall variation in gross profit is the sum of the variation in the revenue plus the variation in the cost of goods sold. Multi-product sales variance. For two or more products, the multi-product sales variance reflect not only the change in the total unit sales, but also the change in the sales mix. So the multi-product sales price variance may be calculated as single product case of each case for each product. The results are then added together. So an alternative is to multiply the actual total units sold times the difference between the following. That is the weighted average price based on the average units sold at actual unit price and weighted average price based on the actual units sold at standard price. Then the multi-product sales volume variance may be calculated at the single product case for each case. The results are then added. So here, an alternative is to determine the difference between the following. That is the actual total unit sales times the standard weighted average unit, what we say, contribution margin for the actual mix. Then standard total unit sales time multiplied by the standard weighted average unit contribution margin for the standard mix. Then the multi-product sales volume variance consists of the sales quantity and sales mix variances. So the sales quantity variance is the difference between the standard contribution margin based on actual unit sales and standard contribution margin based on standard unit sales. Then one way to calculate the variance is to multiply the standard unit contribution margin for each product times the difference between its standard percentage of actual what we see total units sales and the standard unit sales of the product. So here sales quantity variance, how we will calculate is standard unit contribution margin multiplied by, let me see, the total actual quantity into standard mix percentage minus standard unit sales. Like for example here, what we say, you have two products, for example. Okay, one product, your product mix is 60% of your total sales comes from product A and 40% comes from product B. Clear? So total you sold 1,000 units. That means 1,000 units into 60%. That means 600 units is for a particular product A minus standard unit sales of that particular product. Clear? Got it? Then an alternative is to multiply the standard weighted average unit contribution margin based on standard mix times the difference between total actual unit sales and the total standard unit sales. Then the component of the sales quantity variance are the market size variance and the market share variance. So here, market size variance. Here, how we calculate is budgeted market share percentage into actual market size in units minus budgeted market size in units multiplied by budgeted weighted average unit contribution margin. Then comes the market share variance, is the amount of contribution margin gained because of changes in the market share. So what happens? Market share is equal to actual market share minus budgeted market share into actual market size in units multiplied by weighted average unit contribution margin. sales mix variance is the difference between the standard contribution margin, the actual mix and actual total unit sales. The standard contribution margin for the standard mix and the actual total unit sales. One way to calculate the variance is to multiply the standard contribution margin for each product times the difference between actual unit sales of the product and its standard percentage of actual total unit sales. And for example, your sales mix variance is equal to standard contribution margin multiplied by actual quantity minus total actual quantity into standard mix percentage. And here we have a question. Wait. So here we have two products. One is plastic and one is metal. Okay. We have standard selling price as $6 for plastic and metal $10, and standard variable price for plastic is 3. So we will have a contribution margin at $3 for plastic and $2.5 for metal. Now coming to sales units. So we are selling standard unit sales as 300 units of plastic and 200 units of metal. So that means we are having a 60% share in plastic and 40% in metal. If you are selling 100 units, out of this 60 units is plastic. Clear? So when it comes to actual units sold, that is 260 units and 260 units. That's 50% we sold for each product. Then actual selling price of each product is given 6 and 9.5. So here. Okay. Actual price variance, how we will calculate? Price variance is actual quantity multiplied by standard actual price minus standard price, right? So for plastic, actual price and standard price is same. So there is no price variance. But for plastic, we are checking the volume variance. There is 60 units more, right? So what is the contribution margin? 3. So 60 units into 3. Clear? Second.
It's 40 less, no? The standard unit sales should have been.
Okay, standard was 300, yeah. So 40 units, sorry. Okay, 40 into 3, that is 120. Okay, so then comes metal, we do the same way.
No. 60 is more.
Okay. Actual selling price was 9.5 and we budgeted was 10, right? So we reduce, so it should be unfavorable, correct? So 0.5 into 260 units, clear? Then volume also, what happened? Yeah, for volume, we sold more units, right? 60 units more we sold, so it should be favorable, correct? Then total is unfavorable when it comes to the total contribution margin variance, clear? Then comes sales volume variance. Here, contribution margin variance and sales quantity variance and okay, sales quantity variance here. We have how much units? 520 units is the total units we have, right? 60% should be how much? 520 into 60. How much it should be? 312, right? 312 minus 300. That means we have sold 12 units more. Okay, into 3 units, that is 36. And for metal also, what happened? 520 into 40, 520 into 40, that is 208. So 8 units we sold more. So still, that's why we have a quantity variance of 56, which is favorable. That means we sold more quantities, right? Clear? Then mixed variance, what happens here? 260. We sold 260, but we were supposed to sell more, right? 520 into 60 it was
312.
Yeah, 312. sell, but we sold only 260, so it is unfavorable. But for the metal, what happens? We sold more. Clear. Then okay, so please have a look on the chapter and get back to me if you have any questions. So okay, fine, everybody.